Hi everyone, this video will show you how to use iNaturalist to upload your observations using an iPhone. So to start off, if you've never used iNaturalist before, the first thing you'll need to do is create a login. How you do that is essentially you go to the iNaturalist website, which is listed there, iNaturalist.org. After you've done that and gone to the home page, you'll see several options for starting a new account or logging in. Essentially, you can go to any of them and essentially click the login page or anything else you like, and eventually you'll find an option right here that says Start a New Account. So once you click on Start a New Account, you'll do a standard setup where you enter your email address or your username, preferred password, and all of those things, and essentially create your preferred login. So once you've done that, you are now registered with iNaturalist, but you still need to join our project. So after you've created your login and signed in, you can come back to the website and essentially you'll see several options for observation, species, projects. In order to join our specific project, if you go to the very top part of the web page, you'll see the gray bar that says observation, species, and the projects. If you hover over projects, you'll see a search bar come up. So as soon as you type into that search bar our project and Operation Resilient Trees 2.0, when you start typing that in, you'll eventually see the Operation Resilient Trees 2.0 option come up. Hopefully we're distinguishable by our Earthwatch logo. And when you click on that option, you'll see it'll take you to our project page. And then up on the top right-hand corner, you'll see an option to join the project. So once you actually click on join the project, you should now be set up with iNaturalist as well as our project and be ready to take your observations in the field. So once you're done with the desktop portion and getting all set up on that, what you'll need to do is also download the iNaturalist app onto your iPhone. So for the iNaturalist app, you go to the standard iTunes Apple Store. Link is right there as well. And if you type in iNaturalist, it should be the first option that pops up, but you'll also be able to recognize it by this little green bird, essentially. And so once you click on that and download it, it should pop right up onto your phone from your actual iTunes store. So once it's actually on your phone, you can open that up and you'll be able to log in, and then you'll essentially come to this home page whenever you open up the app on your phone. So basically once you're here on this home page, you want to make sure that you have access to the project and that you'll be able to upload observations there. So the first step is essentially to click the More button. It should be the bottom right hand corner, and when you click More, you'll see an option for projects. Click on the actual projects line essentially, and then when you click on that, it should open up to the projects that you've already joined. So if you follow that initial step of actually joining the project with your username, this should already be here. So once you check that that's all good to go, you're now ready to actually start observing and recording the trees that you find. So in order to take your first observation, so if you're out in the field and you found a tree on the resilient tree species list, what you want to do is start off by clicking Observe. So this will start a new observation. So when you click on Observe, the first thing that will happen is that your camera will open, and a really great feature of iNaturalist and why we like it is essentially you can take photos of the tree canopy, of the bark, of the tree itself, and these are all really great options for confirming your species identification. So please feel free to use this tool. So essentially once you find your tree and you take a picture by clicking the green button, so that'll capture your photo, and then it'll ask you if you're happy with that photo, and if you are, you can click Next. If you're not, if it's blurry or something, you can always click Retake, and you can continue to do that. But let's say you like your photo and you're happy with it, then you click Next when you're done with the photo part. So the next part of iNaturalist that you want to look at is the location accuracy. So another cool feature of iNaturalist is that it can tell you how accurate your GPS reading is. So it uses the GPS function on your phone to tell you where that tree is in lieu of an actual GPS device. So you want to make sure that your accuracy is within 5 meters. So, place the phone next to the tree the same as you did in your training. However, a cool option is that you can continue to touch the arrow if it's not refreshing. So essentially, if you keep clicking that arrow, it'll automatically keep updating until it increases the accuracy and reset until it gets to a good accuracy level for you. And as a reminder, you want to have it at least be 5 meters, though obviously more accurate is better. So continue to refresh as often as you need to. The next step is that you're going to have to identify the species. So hopefully you already know what that species is if you're measuring it for a project, but where you need to start off is essentially the very top part of this observation screen. So it'll list as unknown because you haven't said anything yet, but what you want to do is click on it, and let's say it's an olive tree. If you type into the search bar the beginning of the scientific name, which is the best way to make sure that it actually pops up, so on your resilient tree key IDs, there's actually the scientific name listed there. So begin typing that in, and as you go along, it'll actually start auto-populating with the best fit. So as soon as you find the fit that the actual species name that you're looking for, you can go ahead and click that and it'll confirm your species ID. Another cool feature of iNaturalist is that if you're not 100%, you have a guess, but you're not exactly 100% sure that that is the species that you're identifying, you do have the option to click Help Me ID the species. We don't recommend actually putting it into the project if you're not sure that that's the tree species that we're looking for. However, this does help with making sure we can tag it and go back to it and make a positive ID based on your photos. So this is a good option if you're on the fence about whether that's actually the tree that we want. However, so moving on from that, if you're fairly sure that that is the correct species, you can then move on to the actual project-specific fields that we're looking for. So how you do that is essentially once you've made sure that it's the right species and you've done the GPS location, you want to go back to project. So this is going to be towards the bottom of the observation page. So when you click on projects, you can then see your added projects, which, as if you follow the instructions, it should list right there. When you actually click on it and it highlights green, it'll then pop up all those project-specific fields that we're looking at, like DBH and circumference and tree canopy and everything else that we've asked you to measure. When you're actually, as you go along and start measuring it, you can actually start clicking on each field and filling it in on your phone as opposed to writing it down. So another feature that you should pay attention to, however, is that it's going to ask you to double confirm your species identification. So even if you check the species on the previous page, you'll still need to click on the Resilient Tree 2.0 species ID field and actually select from the drop-down menu. So for example, for that olive, you would have to again click on olive. It might be a little redundant, but it helps us you have to do a second step essentially to add it to the project. Other than that, it should be pretty standard. Take your measurements per the protocol and enter all your measurement data. And don't forget to scroll down to make sure that you list all the fields and actually fill that all out. So once you're actually done entering all that data, you can click the back arrow and then you can actually click share. And that'll confirm your details and actually save that observation to your profile. And you can actually go back and edit if you like, if you made a mistake or anything else, or you want to take more photos, for example. And then from there, you'll essentially go back to that original home screen, and then you'll be able to continue to click observe and make new observations and keep repeating that process. So that's essentially how you do that. So it'll confirm once you actually have that observation, and again, you'll be able to see that under your profile and be able to access those observations again. So that's essentially how you upload to iNaturalist using an iPhone. If you're curious on how to do that with an Android device or how to just use that doing the pen and paper method in a desktop, feel free to consult the rest of our website.